What's up YouTube? This is going to be our guide on how to use Serperior in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing competitive movesets and some fun meme movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section of the video. And if these help you out, they get you thinking, drop a like and let's get into it. So we're going through some more of the starters here. So Serperior is a pretty interesting and fairly straightforward Pokemon to use. It doesn't really have a massive move pool at all, and mostly is known for one thing, being Leaf Storm and Contrary. So let's have a look at that. All of its stats, its speed is alright, its special attack is kind of bad when you look at it, but it does have Contrary to make up for that. So firstly, we're going to be looking at a Contrary Sweeper, and I've got some variations of it too, depending on like what you're using on your team. Some doubles and VGC stuff, and some other options, of course. So we're going to have a look at this set. So with Terrors on Serperior, I would probably have Fire, Ground, even Water, or Rock. They're probably the ones I go for. I've gone for Fire here. So, of course, we've got the abilities Overgrow and we've got Contrary. So, with Contrary, any drops in stats, for example, using Leaf Storm is going to increase your special attack by 2 instead of it dropping. So, incredibly great with a move like Leaf Storm. Leaf Storm's got 90% accuracy as well, so it's going to hit most of the time, but I kind of like running Wide Lens on there as well. That way you really need, like with its special attack base of 75, you really need that initial Leaf Storm boost to be able to just do some kind of damage, right? So that's why I've gone Wide Lens. I'll discuss some more items in a sec. And we've got Terra Blast. So most of the time you're going to be using Leaf Storm and Terra Blast. That's it. The other moves are kind of filler moves depending on what your team is for singles, doubles, whatever rule set you're playing, yeah? So we've got Terra Blast Fire. Now, Terra Blast Fire is good in the sense that you can hit other grass type Pokemon. Plus, if their fire type does come in and uses a fire move on you, you can go Terra Blast Fire and Leaf Storm against them. And that essentially gives you a free +2, taking minimal damage at the same time, yeah? It learns very little moves outside that. It does have Dragon Pulse, which I thought could be handy against other dragon type Pokemon that may resist some of your moves, and just for a little bit extra coverage, you're not really going to be using it a lot of the time. And it does get Substitute too, which can be very handy. So say you come across a water type Pokemon, right? You swap your Serperior in. Instead of going for Leaf Storm right off the bat, you could throw a Substitute up and then go for Leaf Storm. It's another option. Also, it can get around stuff like, Sucker Punch or any like priority moves, that might finish you off and things like that. So yeah, you've got Sub and Dragon Pulse. Now, it does get some other status moves, which I will mention on my other movesets in a sec. But yeah, we've got the EV Spreaders, Max Special Attack and Max Speed, Timid Nature. I would always be running Timid on Serperior. It needs its speed because you can boost up its special attack all you like with Leaf Storm. So yeah, I would definitely go for that. This, I would say, is more of a singles build than a doubles build. So last little bit, I just put in defense there. And yeah, it's pretty basic. Mostly, I would say it's mostly a one-trick pony with Leaf Storm and Contrary, but I'll discuss some other stuff, as the video goes on, some other options. So yeah, as for items, I did mention I had some other ones. So we had Wide Lens. Wide Lens is going to give you a 1.1 times boost, so Leaf Storm is, 99 then? So you're going to be hitting most of the time then, which is good. If you're worried about being paralyzed, you could pop a Lumberry on there. That's not too bad. That can get around like paralysis and stuff like that. So Thunder Wave, stuff like that would generally shut down Serperior and force it to be outsped and stuff. Another one you can run if you are running Substitute is Leftovers. That's not too bad. It can give you a little bit of extra health back there behind a sub. Maybe it'll get you another extra substitute overall, which could be handy in a certain situation. So that's another option you could use. Miracle Seed could be one as well if you really want to bolster up, the power of Leaf Storm there. You could do that too. Instead of Life Orb, that could be, it sort of hides it as a mystery item then, instead of having Life Orb and you're not losing life. So that's another thing you could do. You could also straight up go Terra Grass as well if you want to, but the problem I find with Terra Grass is then you've got no coverage at all. So you really have to go a different Terra. And say if someone has, like, say, Sap Sipper or something like that, you are going to be in a world of pain, right? So I definitely have either I would have fire. I would have ground. Ground's good as well because, well, I'd say ground and fire are the two best because ground can hit opposing fire-type Pokemon, and it can also hit steel-type Pokemon too. So it gives you a very big, wide amount of coverage. So I would say that's best in terms of coverage. Fire is good for getting a free Leaf Storm up against a fire-type Pokemon that would, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Fire Punch, something, Flare Blitz, things like that, right? And also, if you were to run it on a Sun team, it would be pretty decent as well. So you could, you'd probably run that in a Sun team, like with Torkoal and things like that. But I'll explain some team builder stuff as the video goes on. So that's a way of running that there. I think I've been pretty thorough here. Next set, I know it's kind of similar, but this time we're going to be looking at Assault Vest, and we're sort of getting rid of any status moves like Substitute, and we're making it a bulky sweeper, especially on the special side. So 95 base special defense actually isn't all that bad once you whack an Assault Vest on there. So that enables you to live like flamethrowers and stuff. Possibly, not very well, but you could still live them, have a surprise live, and, get a Leaf Storm up at least. So it does get Giga Drain too, which is actually a pretty good combination of Leaf Storm once you've got 1 to 2 of them up. So let's say you've got +4 in special attack, you've used Leaf Storm on an incoming Pokemon, you've fainted them again, or you've just used it twice, and you're getting a little bit low on health. Well, you can go for Giga Drain, get a 50% damage recovery there, and get your health back, so it's good. And it also conserves the PP on Leaf Storm too. Say if you're versing like a pressure Pokemon, or the opponent's got something they can swap in and stuff like that. Those sort of situations. So that gives you an extra grass option, and 100% accuracy too. I got Terra Blast Fire, so it's fire. I've given this one for other like fire type, also grass type Pokemon, or you could give it ground if you wanted to. Like any of those ones are going to work nicely, and Dragon Pulse too for a bit of extra coverage. Yeah, so that's how I run it. Same EVs as before: special attack, speed, and timid nature. It's going to be working quite good. And yeah, I'd say this could work in doubles as well. I reckon this could definitely work in doubles. It also definitely could work in singles too. So a little bit more of a surprise, be able to live a few attacks. The next, I have to mention Glare as well, because Glare is pretty interesting with Substitute. So this next set is kind of based around paralyzing the opponent, setting up a Substitute, or setting up a sub against not under sort of a very passive Pokemon, or something you're going to be able to easily defeat, like, I don't know, like Water type or any passive Pokemon. And then you can paralyze them with Glare, and then they're either going to have to swap or risk trying to attack you and getting paralyzed while you set up free Leaf Storms, yeah? And then you've got Terra Blast Ground as well for coverage. So this is a pretty basic set, and you've got leftovers as well, and it works pretty well across the board there, giving you probably the best amount of coverage, and you've also got something to do here against any... maybe a faster Pokemon. You could shut them down with Glare, and then you could, try and get those Substitute up or Leaf Storm up. Substitute is a very good move too. Since this doesn't have any priority moves at all, it's a good way of at least living that move and then finishing him off. So that's going to be pretty good. I'd say that's probably absolutely better in singles, this style of set. Same EV spread. I just like Timid Nature and Max Special. That works best on it. I don't really see there's any point putting any EVs anywhere else. You're going to be slower, and you're going to be hitting not as hard. So, yep. Let's have a look at some doubles now. So, doubles runs kind of similar. This is a set that I use in doubles, and it actually was pretty good. It's got some a little bit of surprise to it. And there's a couple of items and moves you could mess around with. But so we've got similar EVs here. So Max Special Attack and Max Speed, well, exactly the same with Timid. You can... Look, you can run a little bit more bulk if you want to, if you feel like you can get your Contraries up and make it more tankier, or you can adjust your speed if you want to. I honestly like these EVs for Serperior the best. If you need to be able to outspeed something specifically or live a specific hit, I'm sure you could adjust them. It's not too, wouldn't be too difficult. But anyway, so we've got Focus Sash as the item. The reason I got Sash is because we've got Mirror Code on here. So... we've got Protect, which is going to work well against any like Fake Out and things like that. And we've got Mirror Code. So say if you're facing up, I don't know, like an Eruption Pokemon or a powerful Fire move, you don't want to pop your Terra, or a very powerful special move, you can pop a Mirror Coat and clean them up at least, and then you could always go for like Leaf Storm on 1 HP. That could still work. It's more of a, this is more of a desperate move on there. A little bit of surprise, because I feel like in a Pokemon battle, even in a competitive Pokemon battle, you do need a bit of surprise. And then we've got Leaf Storm, obviously Protect, and Terra Blast Fire. I feel like this will work very nicely on like a Sun team, and I'm going to do some examples in a sec. Or you could go Ground as well. The only thing about Ground you have to worry about if you go Terra Ground is flying Pokemon, because they will absolutely dominate you. So that's why I kind of like having Fire and Grass in there. At least you can still do some damage there to like a resisted damage with Leaf Storm. When you've got a couple of them up, it's still going to do lots of damage. Yeah, so that's something to bear in mind as well, or have something for the flying types on your team. So yeah, we've got Protect, Terra Blast, and Miracle. You could put on Dragon Pulse on there if you wanted to, or Giga Drain. I just like this set. It's interesting, and you've got some you've got like an immediate KO there against a powerful, like, you know, say a Dazzling Gleam, a Moonblast Pokemon, Hyper Voice Pokemon comes in, you can just get rid of them, really, really easy. Especially if they're bulky and you don't have a lot of, like, say if you've got no Leaf Storms up, right, and it's quite a desperate sort of move there, right? And then you could easily finish another Pokemon off a Leaf Storm after. So that's an option. You could actually run. You could run Assault Vest on here as well. You just have to change up Protect. So you could, something maybe similar to this, I would go for if you wanted to run Assault Vest. That's another one you could go for. I'd be down for that. I'm just having a look at these other sets that I did. So yeah, it's not too bad. I will have a look at some more like other options, but look, you could put Giga Drain on there instead, and you could swap the item up. Maybe you could put Covert Cloak on there. That could work. If there's any like secondary moves, that could be like useful to you as well. So that could be a decent item to run. Yeah, I was thinking about doing like weakness policy builds, but it's just not really bulky enough to live like a really powerful move, right? If you wanted to run it on a Sun team, you could put I mean, a Sash would still be fine on the Sun team. If you really wanted like crazy like base power on there, you could put a Life Orb on there too. If you really, really wanted extra crazy base power, yeah. Some of the other items I used before were pretty good. I would possibly use those ones as well that I already use. Leftovers isn't. I reckon Leftovers is only really good on the substitute sets. I mean, you could put sub on there, but I feel it's a little bit slow for that, and there's with Hyper Voice and stuff running around, I don't think that's going to be that great in doubles. So that's how I would go. I like Sash. Another one you could run is Wide Lens. I mentioned that before, so just see you land your Leaf Storms. I like that too. I'm trying to think of any other items that would be like beneficial to you that I haven't mentioned. Look, you could have, I don't know, even just a Citrus Berry could be decent as well to allow you to live an extra hit. Turn a 2-hit KO into a 3-hit KO, something along those lines. That could work too. But outside of that, there's not too much else. As I mentioned, it's a very, very barren kind of Pokemon. There is, I'm just thinking as well. It does get Dragon Tail, but I don't think that could really fit on there as a slot. So that'd just be surprised. So yeah, that's how I would run this in doubles. There's not really too much to add here. If you want to do for like, let's do some teammates. Yeah. Incineroar's a good teammate for a lot of Pokemon. So yeah, Incineroar is definitely a good teammate for a Serperior for sure. It's going to work very nicely with Intimidate, cover some of that weaknesses. You've also got Urshifu. Speaking of covering weaknesses, Rapid Strike Urshifu is going to be very, very good partner there. Getting rid of any of those counters, especially those fire type Pokemon, is going to be an issue for Serperior. That's going to be good. Another one you could run, I mentioned this as well, if you wanted to go down the route of using this in a Sun team, you could have Torkoal, and then you could have that Terra Blast Fire. That could work too. So you could run it on a fire team, and that I know that would work too, because Terra Blast Fire after a Leaf Storm is going to be like nice and powerful. So you could do that. That could be another option. I'm trying to think of some other good ones too. I'd say that'd be, how about Thundurus? Thundurus would be pretty good. for any of those flying types, that would be a good Pokemon to counter. Obviously, with grass, you tend to pick either fire or ground as a coverage. Rock could work as well if you had Terra Rock, but yeah, that'd be another good one too. I'm just trying to think of some other good ones. I mean, Flutter Mane is good on every team, so I'm not even like that's just a given, right? But there's some examples, to beat it. Probably anything that is a Steel type Pokemon is gonna give Serperior initial problems, unless it's got something like Corviknight would be a very, very difficult Pokemon for Serperior unless you had Terra Fire, because being a flying and Steel, right, it's gonna resist that Leaf Storm, and it's also gonna resist Terra Ground as well. Even really only Terra Fire would hit that. How about Goldengo? That would be another good one as well. That hits very, very hard. So once again, this is why I like Terra Fire. That would be pretty good coverage for that. But yeah, it's not a hard Pokemon to counter. Also, unaware Pokemon. And let's have a look at those. Now, funnily enough, some of the unaware Pokemon will get demolished by it still, which is funny. Like Dondozo and Quagsire still get clapped. Skeledirge, yeah. Skeledirge gonna be difficult. Skeledirge with unaware is gonna be a good counter as well, because it can potentially just torch song you, and you're gonna get wrecked. You can't set up sub. You can't. There's not a lot of play there, right? So yeah, that's a great counter. I would say Skeledirge is the best counter there. If you got anything to add to the doubles, please let me know. But once again, it's very barren, yeah? I have to mention, too, while I'm at it, let's have a look at a bulky, a physical set, right? You might have overlooked its attack stat. And remember, its attack stat is the same as its special attack. So this is going to be an Overgrow set. It's a bit of a Pimp Knight special here. So we've got Coil, a nice little healing move there. We've got Leaf Blade and Terra Blast Ground. So I would probably... You could have Terra Fire as well. That will probably give you a little bit more use. You're not completely destroyed by flying types. But yeah, you've got Max Health and Max Special Defense EVs, Careful Nature, dropping a special attack because they're running a physical set. With Overgrow, you're going to get at a third or quarter, you're going to get a boost in your grass types, which will happen on a set like this because you're going to need to be taking hits and setting up coils. Coil is going to increase your accuracy, defense, and attack by 1 stage, so that's going to be handy as well. And you've got healing, and you've got a Leaf Blade for critting, so it's going to be hitting pretty hard. And after a couple of coils, it is going to be reasonably bulky for sure. So if you just want a little bit of a fun set to run, you could use this on Serperior. A little bit different than the standard contrary sets. Something else you could try. Let's have a look at a leech seeding set. Usually I like grass Pokemon as defensive walls. If you want to use Leech Seed and stuff. So we're going Max Health, Max Defense, Bold Nature. We got Leech Seed and Protect, which works rather nicely. We got Glare as well. You can slot that in, and Giga Drain too. It doesn't give huge amounts of coverage. You're not going to be able to do much for a grass type, but you're going to be it's going to be annoying to everyone else. You're going to be putting Paralyzers and Leech Seeds down. You got Leftovers as well. And yeah, I've made it a defensive wall. You could even throw a healing move on there if you wanted to, but Leech Seed and Protect and Leftovers, it'll could go all right as a defensive wall. Let's have a look at some more thoughts on Serperior. I'll show you all of its moves that it gets here. So this is the moves that it gets on its status side. Now, remember with the status side, the problem is if you want to run Contrary, you can't do Calm Mind, right? Because it's going to drop your stats. So virtually, I don't think anyone's going to bother running Calm Mind when they go Leaf Storm, yeah? Coil is good for the physical one. We've already gone over Glare and Leech Seeds. It does get Sword Dance. Ooh, let's have a look at a physical one here. So I'm going to make a physical one up real quick. So it does have Sword Dance. Let's just experiment here. I like to experiment with everything. So we're going to need its max speed for sure. So let's give it Jolly and defensive. What do we get here? Does it get Bullet Seed? We could... Yeah, okay. Okay, we got Bullet Seed. Let's give it Loaded Dice. Loaded Dice Bullet Seed. That could be pretty good. Let's give it some coverage for Steel types. We may need to go for a Terra Blast real quick. Oh, we've got Loaded Dice Scale Shot too. That's pretty cool. Let's do Loaded Dice Scale Shot. This is kind of interesting. And we're going to need something to hit Steel with. So I would probably go Terra Fire. I mean, Terra Fire would be pretty good. I'd be down for that. We could do Terra Fire, or Terra Ground, which would be, or Terra Fighting could be interesting too. Terra Fighting. I do worry a little bit about flying type Pokemon, but yeah, we could go Terra Fire or Terra. Even Terra Rock would be good for like a more of a defensive one, but we need it still. So yeah, we could go like Terra Fire. That would be okay. So yeah, we got Terra Fire, and yeah, not a bad set. I mean, I'm not saying it's super amazing, but it could be fun to actually use this. And yeah, you've got that you got that Overgrow as well, so you're not gonna like, you know, drop a Sword Dance and, you know, Scale Shot without doing it. It could be, I was thinking it could be interesting here to make yourself bulky with Scale Shot, and I was like, well, there's not really much point, right? Because you could just use like Coil, so, you know, with Contra. So that's another gimmicky set you could run. I'm just having a look at some more options here, what you could even do on this Pokemon. Let's go back to a status. So it does get Taunt as well. It could be good for Taunt on more of a bulky set. It's got the speed, I guess. It's got growth, but that would only really be good in the sun, and you're better off using Leaf Storm anyway. Interesting enough, it gets Mean Look. That's kind of cool. Helping Hand maybe in doubles if you want to do a defensive set, but I think that's outclassed by like pretty much every single other support Pokemon. As for the special moves, here we go. See, this is what I'm talking about, right? It's so limited. You've got... no, there's nothing. It really is nothing. So you got either... You have to pick Leaf Storm always, Terra Blast, pick your Terra Blast, so those two moves always, and either go Dragon Pulse or Giga Drain, or you might go for Mirror Coat. Like, I like that Mirror Coat strategy. That could definitely work too. So that's it. It's pretty barren. I must say, it's pretty barren. You could try a Choice Spec set too with Leaf Storm. That's something you could actually go for. Another one. What else we got here? So that's that, and its physical moves. Yeah, it actually has a lot of physical moves. I have to mention Dragon Tail because that's actually not all that bad. You could try and like use that for phasing maybe, but man, outside of that, it's pretty barren. I got to admit, there's not a lot there for you to use. To sum it up, this Serperior is a nice late game sweeper. Absolutely mid to late game, I would say. Either you're running in singles or doubles. Singles, if you get enough of those boost up and you can outspeed everything, you've pretty much got the opponent. It's very, very powerful. It's like a big snowball going down a hill, right? In doubles, this is going to be not as effective because there's going to obviously be two opponents hitting you, so it's going to be hard to set up those Leaf Storms, right? So I see it more effective in singles, absolutely, than doubles. But not to say it couldn't work in doubles, but yeah, I like that. I really like this set here that I come up with. Before. I really quite like this, so I don't know, maybe give it a try and see what you think. I'm not saying Serperior is going to be the greatest Pokemon in doubles, it absolutely isn't, but this could cause a bit of damage, you know, and especially if you had another Pokemon, say you had something with like, ooh, we got any Rage Powder apart? I don't think we have too many apart from, I was thinking you could have something like Rage Power or Follow Me, like a Follow Me Pokemon. Let's say Follow Me Clefable. Say if you had a Follow Me Clefable, right? You could potentially use this as bait and then set your Leaf Storms up, you know, while Clefable takes all the hits, and then you could, you know, potentially sweep through the team as well. But yes, unfortunately, it being a Grass-type Pokemon, it's very, very limited move pool. It still can be outsped, and it takes a while to build with Leaf Storm contrary. You know, only that it's initially isn't a very powerful Pokemon. So you really have to play this Pokemon correctly to get the most use out of it. Still a very, very dangerous Pokemon if allowed to be set up like a lot of other Pokemon. But yeah, good mid to late game sweeper in singles, and you might be able to, with some support in doubles, it could be very effective as well. That's pretty much it for Serperior. If you've got anything else to add there, make sure you do it in the comment section. If you want to see any other Pokemon, me to cover them, put it below there. Check out the playlist, people. I've done like 100 or, I don't know, like at least 100 plus or nearly 200 guides. So maybe you're thinking, oh, I want this Pokemon done. Check out the playlist first. I may have already done it. That's about it, people. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.